Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the second episode of the Expats Unfiltered. In today's episode, we are going to speak on an important topic that most of the students, while coming to Germany for their masters, are not sure about. And that is what is the difference between a Hochschule and university in Germany. So, in today's episode, we are going to give some perspectives and also speak from our experiences what is the difference between Hochschule and university in Germany. We have with us Praveen Nadakarni.
Yes, Kiran. I think it's a good combination that you are from Hochschule and I come from university. So we can share our personal experiences and we could share our experiences so that the students can then decide for themselves, because there are key differences between both of these structures and they can decide which could fit in best for them.
Also, I think since I have studied at Hochschule Esslingen for my masters, and since I currently work at the University of Augsburg, I have perspectives of both the parts of this world, and probably it would be really helpful for the students to discuss and say why should they choose one or another.
Yeah, so let's get it started.
So let's start with the basics then. Hochschule and universities both are quite different, though the end goal is the same. So what is your overview or experience that you want to share about university?
This would be the first question for anyone who is looking for a master's in Germany. So they come across what is a university and what is a Hochschule. And again, in universities, there is just universities and then technische universities. So basically, universities focus on research orientation and there are more theoretical subjects. Though you have subjects that are there, sometimes there is flexibility to choose and you could do projects in between and carry on. Most of the universities have a standard duration of 2 years or 120 credits. And technische universities are those universities that are focused on STEM, meaning it is like natural sciences, physics, or engineering. While the other normal universities are focused on also offering law, education, or some linguistics and something like this, history.
A stark difference to Hochschule in comparison to university is that in Hochschules we study courses which are more practical oriented, which are more industry oriented. And therefore, if someone is looking for careers in industry, then Hochschules are probably the better choice. One of the other main important differences with respect to the number of credits. You study around 90 credits in Hochschules, and you study 120 credits, as you already mentioned, at universities. So this is one of the major difference as well in both of these.
So to summarize, universities more focus on research and theoretical, while Hochschules are more concerned about practical and career oriented, or those who want to go into industry soon could opt for Hochschule.
Yes. So let's speak a little bit about the learning style and how the course itself is structured. So when I studied at Hochschule, we had a classroom of 30 students. And it was a small class. We had a lot of international students at Hochschule Esslingen, but it also felt very personal because it's a small classroom size. When I studied at India, we had 80 or 90 students in a class. So this is how it is, I think, at Hochschules, where the classroom size is small with a very small set of students. How is it in universities?
Well, that was exactly opposite for me. So I come from University at Siegen, where I did my master's. So I did it in mechatronics, and our class had like 120 students. So this is typically the case in universities, but it also depends on each year. So sometimes they restrict to 60, sometimes they take 90, sometimes they take 120. So there are also this restriction on intake every year, but also it depends on the field you are in. For example, we had also nanoscience and others which had lesser strength. So that's how our typical class is. Does that also mean in Hochschules you have a lot of group work and people like study in groups or do activities together?
Yes, we had a lot of group projects, and my whole second semester was having a lot of these kind of subjects where I had to work with other colleagues or classmates. This was one of the major learning experience. It also taught you how to work in groups at this level wherein the people are from different countries or different backgrounds. So this was also an essence in our Hochschule. But I am not sure if this is the case in all Hochschulas, but as far as I know, in many of the Hochschulas provide such kind of atmosphere wherein you learn and get practical experience. Also, you deal with projects from companies wherein you learn to solve problems that are really existing and needs to be solved at company level.
But in universities, it's not the case. Mostly we have courses that are given by professors, we have good material, and student is expected to do it individually, learn himself. There are very few courses where you have group activities like projects, but not the major ones like as in Hochschules.
Also, the other thing was like in my course, most of the students completed their course within 1.5 years, or maximum I know very few students who took 2 years to complete their studies. So this was one of the major things at Hochschule. I always felt that you can quickly complete your studies. And also another major point that I can think of is at Hochschules you do not have choice of subjects. So that means there are certain number of subjects that you need to study, and there is no choice. You cannot say I will not study this. There are 18 subjects. When you join the course, you need to complete these 18 subjects to complete the course. However, I heard that at universities it's different.
Well, yes, you are right. So there is more flexibility as well. You can choose some electives where you want to specialize, do research. So often you could choose whichever field you want to go into for research or next career. Well, coming to the standard duration, as I mentioned, is 2 years, but depending on universities, people take about an average of 2.5 years or so, because we don't have a mandatory internship, but people would like to do internship.
One more other aspect that I can think with respect to the course is that at Hochschules, professors want you to do thesis at companies, and they encourage you to do it. However, I heard that at universities, it's not the case all the time. So do you have some experience here?
Yes, of course. So it is very difficult to find professors who support or accept those thesis opportunities that are like given from industry, because often there are like non-disclosure agreements, and then you cannot publish particular part of research for X number of years. So often it's a challenge to find a professor. Nevertheless, there are few professors who support and guide through the topic as well.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, there will be one or the other professor who would encourage you to do also thesis at companies, at universities. However, most of the time, since professors themselves have research projects, they would want you to work in their chair. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
One of the other important thing, now that I work at university, so I found that this is fully different in comparison to Hochschule. That is with respect to the fundings. So at Hochschules, I knew that companies used to fund some of the projects, and these are the projects that companies wanted to solve. So they did not have a manpower or the time to invest on these projects, and they used to give these kind of real-time problems to Hochschules to solve it for the company. Yeah, but at universities, I found out that a lot of research projects come in, and most of these are also sponsored from the government for the future, and where it is STEM projects or like proper research-based, physics-based, theoretical projects. And therefore, if one wants to get into research, I think universities provide more options, and as a student, they can work more on these kind of projects.
Yeah, that's right. Universities often have this funding from government, as you said. Often there are some industrial collaborations, but most of the industry problems are like going to the Hochschules. where they try to find a solution fast and get to the industry. And in general, the research grants for universities are large and huge because there are a lot big projects and initiatives, and funding are directly from different government agencies that are there. So yeah, it depends on what your interests lie in.
So one of the most important thing that all the students think of before joining any of the course is what happens after I finish my course. So what are the career opportunities after finishing course at university?
Well, the university students generally get into research or academia in the same university or apply to other universities as well. Well, it could be just a research position or combined with the PhD, as I said. The other option is also the large corporations look out for university graduates because they are like quite experienced in tech fields or worked on particular projects. So how does it look for Hochschule students? What are your options?
So like when I studied, none of us or most of us did not have an idea that we can get into academics as well. So I would say more or less every one of us want to join a company and start working. And also it makes sense because we are studying at applied science universities, that is Hochschule, wherein we are trained to start working as soon as we finish our studies. So mostly I would say 99% of them go and join a company and start working. However, there is a misconception that once you study at Hochschule, you cannot pursue PhD. And when I asked my seniors, most of them said it's more or less not possible because of the number of credits you have. However, I am a live example wherein it's possible. So when you want to pursue PhD, that is also possible, but the only thing here to know is once you join a university for your PhD, they might want you to study few more subjects to make up for the additional 30 credits. So this is the only underlying fact. To summarize, if you want to go for an industrial job, then maybe it makes sense to directly go to a Hochschule, finish your studies and then join. However, if you are not sure whether you want to pursue academics or whether you want to work at a company, then a university might be a good choice. If you are 100% sure that you want to pursue PhD and get into academics, I think there is no better choice than university.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
One of the other things that come to my mind is what will be the difference when you apply for a university and Hochschule, and will there be any differences in the requirements? What is your opinion on this?
Well, universities in general have a requirement where they see into the grades or academic accolades that a student has. So often few universities have a pre-qualifying step where they ask you the grades. And it depends on which college you come from. There are different cutoffs. So the filtration process starts right there. But later they also see into if you have done some research projects or involved in projects at companies. So they also see what you have done. And they are more academic focused. They are more competitive to get in. But yes, it's more
grade focused and
Yeah,
wherein you have to show your academic caliber. However, at Hochschules, I think they focus more on the experience that you have, and if you have experience of working in a company, then they evaluate. So admissions also are given based on your experience and also based on your motivation letter. So I think at Hochschule, along with grades, CGPA, they really value your work experience. So this is the key difference, I think, in that case. One more thing that I think of is how does student life or culture vary in university and Hochschule. At Hochschules, I can say that since the classroom is small and you have same set of students studying with you in all 18 subjects, so you make real good friendships with these set of students. And even now, after 3 years, 2 years of finishing my studies, I am still in touch with my classmates because we spent significant amount of time together doing the same thing. However, at university, since now I am at university, I see that the set of students keep on changing in each class, and also the class sizes are very huge, right? So probably the opportunity to have this common set of values or traditions of partying or whatever is reducing. So what is your opinion on this?
Yeah, you're right. As I mentioned, that the university students have more flexibility. So there are subjects that many people could choose. For example, one from mechatronics or mechanical can choose some electives from informatics or computer science, or something in electronics there. So it depends on the field of choice. So you tend to meet a lot of people around, and then it depends how you are self motivated to learn without being like influenced by the group that you are in. It's unlike the university or Hochschule that are there. So we tend to move and explore ourselves more and then get into what field we want.
So I think if you study at university, you need to be self-motivated most of the times, because there are no friends to push you or take you together along with them. However, at Hochschulas, I think, there is always your friends or classmates who are there doing the same thing, and you get additional motivation. So if you are looking for independent style of working wherein you bring your own ideas and then want to test it, I think university matches much more in that aspect.
If you feel you are self motivated, want to explore more before you choose a career, then I would say go to university. And also, if you like to interact with a lot of people and explore, yes, of course. But if you want to have a smaller group and have a structured course, very focused, then opt for Hochschule, and it gets done very fast.
Yeah, I think one of the main point also is that at universities, I know a lot of students who take more than 3 or 3.5 years to finish their studies, because there is no one saying you have to finish your studies, right? At Hochschulas, it is usually not possible. You fail a subject 2 times, then you cannot finish your course. So you have to leave the country for foreigners. So this is something that is different at universities, wherein you can give multiple attempts for the same exam, and there is sometimes no limitations. So probably it says that to the students, take your own good time. And if you are a foreigner, it might also not be so helpful to have these kind of leeways.
Yeah, so it depends on what career options you would like to choose. Anyways, both of these universities and Hochschulas are highly respected, and you could get into whichever field you want, be it academia or research or industry, after doing courses from both Hochschulas and universities.
Yeah, I think that's a wrap up for today's Expats Unfiltered. We will bring more of these sessions, short and crisp, wherein we speak about our experiences and difference of various things in comparison to India or different things in Germany. If you like this kind of small, short but crisp sessions, please like the podcast. Please share it with others who are looking to come to Germany. Until next time, see you guys. Bye bye.